Hello, and welcome to another Trinity teaching. This is lesson 3, the spectrum. Okay, first off, the spectrum can refer to many different things. I'm going to talk about 3 different spectrums. One from a book, one that I kind of thought of my own, and one that I've seen in many different other places. The first off is the one that I don't actually, probably someone else probably thought of this before I did, but it's the one I think of and use. Imagine a gray scale, if you will. You know, white at one end, black at the other, gray in the middle. Well, this is the spectrum I use to define people in Wicca. On the white end is Wicca, in general. On the black end is satanicness and all that, Satanism. And on the gray could be a variety, many different things that are in between the two. Well, between white and gray is why I've met a lot of people. This is the spectrum I use, basically just to categorize what people are. It's not to say black or white magic. It's just to say, well, everybody is, because to tell you the truth, see, everyone says in Wicca there is no black magic. See, it's got its black parts, which is curses, hexes, and stuff like that you can do. But just because that stuff's there doesn't mean you have to do it, or that everybody does do it. A lot of people don't do it. I know a lot of them, actually, and I don't even do them. I know them from many different books. But this little spectrum doesn't just say that all Wicca's white and all Satanic's black. It's just to say the spectrum I use to help define people I know. Now, the other one I'm talking about is white, gray, and black magic. Now, this one is a spectrum I once read in a book. See, a lot of books say there's no white magic, there's no gray magic, there's no black magic. Well, in fact, that could be true, but there is curses, hexes, and stuff like that, and this little spectrum that I once read in the book, I forget exactly which book it was, but it's kind of explained it like this, and the way it explained it actually made sense to me. White magic is magic you use upon yourself, to help yourself do certain things, stuff like that. It basically is only used on you. Gray magic is magic used on other people, but to help them, not to harm them. Say you cast a spell to, help yourself get money. That would be white magic. Only be used on you. And I also might add, you know the saying, do as thee will, harm none, or something like this, said in that manner? Basically, that's what white magic is. Doing whatever you want without harming anyone. Gray, well, you're not really harming anyone, but you are maybe pushing them to help them do something, or pushing someone towards them, helping them with certain things. It could be any matter of magic that's cast upon someone else for a non-benevolent purpose. For benevolent, I do believe is the correct term I'm looking for. You're not looking to hurt them, you're looking to help them. And then you have black magic, which is technically using it for benevolent purposes on other people, to harm them, to keep them from doing something, dominate them. It could be many different things. But that's the scale that I once read, and actually made sense to me. You don't have to use this scale. You can say everything is white and not even look at the curses and that. But believe it or not, some people do those things. Granted, the rule of 3 says, and threefold and all that, says you're not really that if you do something like that, it will come back at you. But, as I said once before, the term eye for an eye, I once read in a book, if someone deserves it, or it's just forced, and there's nothing you can do, your hands are tied, or someone forced your hand to do something of that nature, it may come back at you, yes, but it might not be as bad, especially if said person deserved it. And I might add, the punishment must fit the crime. Like, just because, like, if someone pushed you, or cut in front of you in traffic, that's not reason to try to kill them. Now, that's a little extreme. But maybe, I don't know, stubbing their toe, or something of that nature. Or just pure anger, and not actually doing anything, would be a suffice. But if somebody, like in a book I once read, this woman's daughter, someone tried to kidnap her. The daughter was fine, but the woman was pissed. So she cast a spell upon the guy who did so. And it came back at her threefold, but not as bad as it normally would have. Thus telling you that it's best to make sure pick your battles, number one, and make sure it's deserved. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Curses and that. Plus, it's best to wait till you're a bit more experienced to even try anything like that. I mean, I would think I possibly have the experience to do so, but I'm not going to try one, right, just to see if it works. It's one of those things that you only really do if you need to. Don't do it just because you want to and just like, ooh, does it work? Anyway, okay, this next spectrum. This spectrum I got from the book called The Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard. See, this spectrum is colorizing certain specialties of magic, certain specialties that people can have. First off, you don't have to do any of these specialties if you practice Wicca. There's ones who don't do anything, they just believe Wicca, they don't do spells, they don't do anything like that. Or they do Wicca and they do spells, but they don't do any of these specialty things. It's basically, these are just all specialties of things that you can do. And also, I might add, they'll colorize, but don't let the colors fool you. That doesn't mean it's white or black or whatever. It's colored-wise, mainly just because I think it was Lord of the Rings. The person who wrote this book apparently watched it and kind of got this concept from Lord of the Rings. I could not tell you if this is necessarily true or not, but in the Lord of the Rings, I do believe it was Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the Grey. See, that's where they get this functioning system. They say you take your Wiccan name, you say it first, and then whatever color of magic that you practice, or the specialty you practice, afterwards. So Gandalf the Grey. Grey, I do believe, was lore mastery within this little scale. And mine would be Arc the Yellow, because yellow would be divination. I'm not exactly sure where they got these colors, to tell you the truth, but it's worth mentioning, mainly just because some of these practices are you might want to do some of them, you might want to learn about them, but you don't have to necessarily do them. It's just something there. Some videos, which will be 3.1 through 3.12, are going to be, these things on this spectrum I'm about to mention. Some of these I don't recommend, like Conjury. Just some of them you just really should not try, or just, I mean, if you want to try, it's really purposeless. Useless, there you go. I don't know. It's, a word didn't want to come to me. But, anyway. Okay. The way this, spectrum works, that he has put it, is like this. Meditation, specialized meditation. Healing, magic would be blue. He call it warp cunning. It's basically potion making, but it's also knowing herbs and being an expert within that area, so I kept it warp cunning, which he called green. Divination, yellow, which is what I do. Conjury, orange. That's basically what magicians do, simple tricks, prestidigitation, I do believe is the correct word. I'm just putting that there as an example to talk about that later. Alchemy, red. Alchemy, if you watch Full Metal Alchemist, either generation, it is not what you see in that. That is not what true alchemy is. Alchemy is more of a science, and there's a bit more on it. I don't know too much on it, tell you the truth. You'd have to look into that one on other systems. I'm going to tell you what I do know in the video, but other than that, I don't know. Beast Mastery, brown. Knowing about different animals and creatures and stuff like that. And that's not just normal beasts. That could be mythical beasts also. Astrology. Stars, planets, horoscopes, stuff like that. Numerology. Numerology is basically, the meanings of different numbers, mathematics, stuff like that. It's an interesting subject. I still don't know too much on it, but bear with me. This one is ceremony magic, which he has colored white. Basically being an expert in certain ceremonies. Wickenings, hand passings, hand partings, crownings, high priesthood, high priestesshood, same thing as wickening. There's several different ones that I can't even name right off the bat. But it's basically being an expert in those. Lore Mastery Grey, which is what supposedly Gandalf is. Basically knowing history, lore, myth, folklore, all that legend, all that stuff. And actually, that is a fun thing to study. I mean, you can learn a lot from that, and you can learn more about the good gods and goddesses about that, too. It's actually something I recommend learning about the lore. I mean, you have to become a master in it, but you can learn a lot about it. It's just good to know. And this one he's got colored black as one of the dark arts, which it's just basically necromancy and some stuff like that. Necromancy, I don't know where you would place it on the scale. It's not, I don't think it's satanic magic, but I don't think it's necessarily for Wicca either. I would actually place that as in my little scale I was talking about with Wicca on the white end, satanic on the black end, and gray. I would say necromancy is within that gray area. Just because, well, that's all I can really tell you on that one, because I don't know too much on necromancy. It's art I don't know too much about. The most, I just remember when I was younger, I read the Necronomicon, a version of the Necronomicon. There's so many versions out there, I can't tell you how many. I don't even know what version I read. I just remember it was a bunch of stories. And I honestly can't remember them all, but it was odd. That's all I can say. Also, regardless, as I probably said in some of my other videos, which it was just a joke between me and a friend, necromancy is not a culinary art. I said that in another video of mine, probably not one of these, another video I made. It was just something me and my friend came up with. It was a long story I'm not going to go into now. But anyway, and as I said, this spectrum I just named is basically certain specialties. You don't have to do any of them. I mean, it's basically just, let's see, being a master at meditation, or being really known at healing, knowing healing, your herbs, knowing different divinations, conjuring, and all this different stuff. Black arts, just knowing this stuff. You don't actually have to do some of this stuff, but you see, just because you're Wiccan doesn't mean you have to do all these things. I mean, my coven, when I was doing it, my cousin, which later on became meditation, you could say, but originally he didn't know any of these specialties. I took care of potion making and wart cutting and divination. My friend was beginning at the healing. He did nothing, and some of these talents we didn't even need. I mean, you don't need to know alchemy just to know Wicca. In fact, alchemy is more of a science than it is magic. You don't need to know conjuring, which is just fakeness, which is magic with an M-A-G-I-C. And you don't, I mean, lore mastery, I mean, it's good to know your animals, and it's good to know your lore, it's good to know your stars and astrology, but you don't need to know numerology. You don't have to be a master at ceremonial magic, because, let's face it, some of those things you don't necessarily do. My small little coven, there wasn't going to be births, there wasn't going to be high priesthood or high priestesshood or anything like that, because our coven was this small and kind of ragtag. But as I said, you can learn these things if you want to learn more about them. You don't have to do them. It's up to you if you do them. You can just know all about them but not have to be a master in it. You can dabble in whatever you want. It's up to you. And you don't have to put the color after your name if you don't want to. It's one of those things that, I mean, the videos, I'm going to name the colors in the videos as I do them in case you want to know. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about that actual thing. I'm not going to go into saying that, say your name's Phoenix, you're a Phoenix the Blue, or something of that nature. It's just something that if you really want to, you can. The guy who wrote that book, it's something Ravencraft. I'm not exactly sure right off the top of my head, but something Ravencraft, something like that. But it's a good one for the Apprentice Wizard if you want to learn more about these actual colorizations and all that. It's a good book. In my group, Goss's Children on Facebook, at the moment it is still being worked on. Then again, I might have it up and running by the time this video is uploaded, so you can check. But you can become a member, and I will be uploading PDFs of a lot of Wiccan books I've got. Some of them I got mostly Wiccan PDFs of books I got, and some I don't have. But Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard, I do have a PDF of that, and I will be uploading it so you can look at it and download it. Download it and look at it. And also some links to other sites where you can download these things. But it's a great place to look. So, and if you want to look, I mean, it's a good thing to learn from, I admit. But when it comes to the spectrum, you don't have to call yourself whatever. It's up to you. But anyway, thank you for watching my video on the spectrums. Spectrums, whatever you want to say. And I hope you watch lessons 3.1 through 3.12 to tell you about some of these other things. So until my next Trinity teaching, Thank you for watching, and blessed be. Thank you.